What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Panda here. Today we are talking about the official announcement for the Crowdor Fusion and where we're going to be able to get the copies of Draga and Gorgrond. Let's check them out. And welcome back, guys. As you can see, we do have the official hero gameplay announcement for Crowdor, which basically just goes over kind of what we talked about in the original video, basically talking about like kind of what gear sets to use on him, what his passives do, you know, all that kind of stuff. So you can check this out in game. It is in the notices. But if we go up a little further, we will see in the event notice that we have the time-limited hero fusion event start for Crowdor. You can see here that basically what this is saying is you have to develop Draga and use the epic hero to hero fusion Crowdor, the legendary hero from the Northern Throne. So this event does start on 3/21, which is roughly 24 hours from now. It's actually less than that because we're at 5:42 a.m. So about 6 hours less than 24. So I guess 18 hours or so from now that it officially starts, and it will be going until 4/8. So we have lots of time to be able to get this done. So not a huge rush. However, there are events specifically where you're going to be able to get these things. So let's go over them quickly. So requirements to unlock this event: your account has to be created for more than 3 days. Unfortunately, it's a little late now to start your account unless it allows you to start it a little bit late. If you were to start your account today, maybe once you hit that 3rd day, you'd be able to participate in the next set of events, but I'm not positive. But we have event rules. So we can participate in Oracle's trials to earn rare hero Gogron, 4 duplicates of Gogron at 4-star, 4th grade, and level 40. I would assume that this means you need to be 4-star, obviously, 4 awakening, the promotion, right? So the 4 extra stars from using promotion materials, and level 40 can then become 1 epic hero of Draga. Then you use 4 duplicates of Draga at 5-star, 5th awakening, and level 50 to be able to fuse Crowdor. Now you can only fuse 1 Crowdor during the event, so there is no way to get a second Crowdor, which is a little unfortunate because his awakenings did look pretty interesting. But we'll have to see if he gets added in later on, but I'm not 100% sure. Within the event duration, you can obtain and develop enough duplicates of Gogron to fuse Draga and Crowdor. So there's not going to be any need to summon to get Gorgon or Draga. However, I do believe if you happen to have a copy of Draga in the game already, since she's been in the game for a little while, you may be able to skip some of these events and use your previously pulled Draga. Or if you happen to pull any Gogrons or Dragas during the event for summoning and stuff like that, you'll be able to get them that way as well. During the reward redemption, you can still develop your duplicates of Gogron to fuse Draga and Crowdor, but you cannot earn more duplicates. So what this is talking about is the duration goes through the 8th. However, from the 9th and through the 10th, you're still able to fuse your Dragas and your Crowdors. So no need to go super crazy and build them right away as soon as you get them. You can wait till the end of the event if you choose to. All right, so let's talk over which events have what rewards. Now, this is only specifically talking about the rewards of Gogrons and Dragas from the event, so nothing super crazy to keep in mind here, guys. I don't know what other rewards are in here, but we have the first event starting tomorrow at 3/21 is Gear Raid 2 and the Oracle's Trial Trophies to redeem great prizes. This will have 1 Gogron. Now, remember, we need 16 Gogrons in total. All right, so then we have the Awakening of Heroes. So this has 3 different durations. There are 3 different events to level up, star up, promote heroes, and upgrade hero skills in order to obtain these events. That has 3 copies of Gogron, 1 per event. So far that gives us 4 Gogrons or 1 Draga. Then we have a Mystery of Artifacts event happening 3/25 that will give us 1 more Gorgon. That puts us at 5. Forgotten Palace starting on 3/29. That gives us 1 more copy of Gogron, which puts us at 6. We have an Arrival of Heroes happening on 3/29, which gives us another Gogron, making us hit number 7. And then Lost Legacy with an additional one, giving us 8, which means you're able to get 8 copies fully of Gogrons through Oracle's trials specifically. Then we can move on to actual events, which is the Brave Conquest. There are 4 of them: 321, 326, 331, and 405, giving us a total of 4 Gogrons, which puts us to 12, which means you only need 4 more in order to be able to complete this. And then we go on to Spiritual Altar. There are 2 Spiritual Altar events, 322 and 405, which will give you 1 Gogron each, which puts us up to 14. Then we have Duel of Champions, which is on 324 and 401, giving us 2 additional copies of Gogron, putting us at 16. Now, at this point, everything else is extra, so we'll be able to figure out which events may be worth skipping in order to figure out what's the best use of our resources. For Tales of the Smith, we have 2 events, 1 327, 1 403 for 2 copies of Gogron, so we have an additional 2 available to us. And then for Corridor of Glory, we have 329, which gives us an additional copy of Gogron, which means in total we have 3 additional copies of Gogron, which means provided you don't have any copies of Draga, you don't pull any copies of Draga or of Gogron during the event for summoning, you will be able to skip 3 total events, missing out on 3 Gogron copies in order to complete your Crodor fusion. Now, personally, I think there are several events here that just make sense that you should always be doing. And because of that, I don't think it's super crazy to be able to skip several of these events. So first things first, I'm assuming that all of the Oracle's Trials Gogrons are going to be accessible through the base level rewards, right? So if we come over here, we go to Oracle's Trials, it will be on this bottom row, probably here or here. And I would assume that we may also get additional copies of Gogrons or potentially even a copy of Draga from the first, maybe second and third. Like maybe first is a Draga, second and third is a Gogron. Could be interesting, but I'm not 100% sure. Of course, I don't have full access to that information. We will know in about 19 hours. But overall, let's go back over here. So what that means is you'll want to be able to do at least your 3750 points in your regular dungeon events, which means it's going to be real easy for you to be able to get these done. It does not take a lot of energy in order to complete these events. So we'll be able to guarantee 1 from Vault in the Sands, 1 from Mystery of Artifacts, 1 from Forgotten Palace, and 1 from Lost Legacy, right? That gives us 4 guaranteed Gogrons that are super, super easy to get. Then we have the Awakening of Heroes, which personally I think is very easy to get. However, I can understand for someone who's maybe newer to the game or who's later in the game even and doesn't have any characters to build anymore, that it could be difficult to do Awakening of Heroes. However, I'm going to consider that these are all pretty easy, so I'm going to assume you can do all 3 of them. So what that's going to do is that's going to bring our total to 7 that we're able to get without having to skip anything. Now we have Arrival of Heroes. Now this is one of the events that I think it's totally possible for you to skip. And the reason is because this involves summoning, and summons are a rarer resource than energy is, because you can't just generate summons whenever you want willy-nilly. You have to get them from events, you have to get them from, you know, developing diamonds, whatever the case may be. So it's a little more difficult to be able to do all of the summoning events. We have an Arrival of Heroes on 329, and if we scroll down, we have a Spiritual Altar that is happening 322 and 405, which means you're basically going to have 3 summoning events almost back to back, right? We have 322 to 324, and then we come up here and we have 329 to 402. And then if we go down further, we've got 405 to 408. So none of these overlap. And that is why personally, if I were to say, I would say it would make sense to skip 1 or 2 of the summoning events, because you want to make sure you can get whatever rewards you can get from the main summoning event. So I would say that the Arrival of Heroes is one to skip, which means that leaves us with a total of 7 guaranteed from the Oracle's Trials. Then if we go down to the events, we have the Brave Conquest. These are all guaranteed. You should always be doing your Brave Conquest to maximum. They're not difficult to do. You need to farm gear, and so because of that, you want to do your gear raid 1s, 2s, 3s, and your meteorites. These also, I'm pretty sure, will line up with some of these events over here. So if we come over here, Lost Legacy is 402 to 405. So you'll be able to do that on the 331 to 403. And then if we go up, we'll see Forgotten Palace is 329 to 401. So you'll be able to do that in combination with the 326 to 3 and the 331. So ultimately you'll be able to double dip. So it's highly recommended to wait until you get to those certain stages. So for example, Vault in the Sand is 321, and our first Brave Conquest also starts on 321. So you should be able to do your what is this, Gear Raid 2 event at the same time as your Brave Conquest event, being able to double dip. Really, really easy. So this will bring us to a total of 11 guaranteed, because you should be able to do all 4 of these without any issues. We're going to skip Spiritual Altar for now and move over to Duel of Champions. Duel of Champions, real easy. Just do your arena battles. You can guarantee points for winning, tying, and losing. The amount that you get is just going to be dependent on if you win or lose. You get 4 for a loss, 6 for a tie, and 8 for a win. So it should be relatively easy as long as you are keeping up to date with your arena. So that would put us at 13 from the Duel of Champions. Then we have Tales of the Smith. Again, these ones should be easy. You have to level up your gear. You should have gold lying around. So you'll be able to guarantee these 2, which puts us to 15, I believe. Then we have the Corridor of Glory. Corridor of Glory is another level up event. Obviously, this is 329 to 402, which I don't believe... It actually does. It lines up perfectly with the Awakening of Heroes here, 329 to 402, which means this should be a guarantee one as well, which will put us to, I believe, 16 without any issues. And that is not including any of the summoning events. So, realistically, it should be very, very easy for you to be able to come out of this event with a Crow Door by basically just playing the game as normal. You will need to keep in mind the summoning events and, some of the other events, and make sure you're trying to double dip as best as possible. But ultimately, I think this event is going to be pretty simple. It will be even easier, like I said before, if you have access to a Draga copy that you've already pulled, or you happen to get lucky, or I guess unlucky, and pull some Gogrons and Dragas during some of these summon events. Now, I know personally, I have started to restockpile my energy. I did just do a very large dump of energy for the Frenzy event that happened very recently, so I've been slowly building up my energy pool again, and I will continue to do so until all these events start, so that I'm able to clear all of these events relatively quickly. But ultimately, you can see I'm stockpiled on gold. I've got 12,706 million, or 12.7 million, whatever the case is. And I am going to start stockpiling things like experience, right? I have an experience buff right now. I'm going to start stockpiling so that I have tons of food in order to level up things for the event. Definitely make sure you're coming in here and purchasing all of your food every day so that you have a good stockpile, right? I've got 350 space with 250 currently filled. Sorry, 215 currently filled. So I have tons of room for food down here at the bottom. It is also important to note that you do have access to things such as these bad boys right here. I have 16 5-star psychic powers, 1 4-star psychic power. So I have the ability to make tons and tons and tons of points by just 5-starring and 6-starring different champions. If I were to scroll down here, like, even though I'm not using all of these 5-star champions and these 4-star champions, it's very easy for me to get a ton of points by just 5 and 6-starring these champions as I go. So highly recommend that you get all this stuff ready to go. It's also not a bad idea during these level up events to prep your food and your promotion materials and your experience in order to actually get the fusions of your Dragas and your Crowdors, by using one of these events to do so. Super, super simple. It shouldn't be difficult to do. I know personally what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making a ton of 4-star food, enough so that I can make all of the 4-star Dragas into 5-star Dragas in order to make that final push towards getting the Crowdor fusion, on those last couple days of the events. So highly recommend being smart about how you do things, making sure that you're double dipping as often as you can. So for example, right now I have a Gear Raid 1 with Lost Legacy. I don't have any current events that make sense. This event starts in 19 hours and 3 minutes, but unfortunately, This Lost Legacy ends in 19 hours and 3 minutes, but you know what starts is the Vault in the Sands like we talked about. So I'll be able to double dip by going into Gear Raid 2 and getting points for both the Vault in the Sands as well as for the Brave Conquest. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. I hope it's not super difficult. You can access this information up here by hitting the 3 lines, going to Notice and going to Event Notice, and it's the first tab here if you want to read these things yourself. But guys, that's going to be it for me today. I just wanted to go over all the official dates for everything that's coming out. I'm hoping that everyone's able to get their hands on the Gorgons in order to get the Dragas, in order to get the Crodor. Crodor is looking like a relatively good tank for the game. If you are early in the game, he's going to be amazing. I really highly recommend trying to do the best you can to get him completed. You know, I think he's going to do wondrous things for you, especially if you're in the early game, because he's going to be great in places such as Immortal Codex and the Void Rift. So definitely make sure to do as much as you can. I will probably make a couple update videos for how well I'm doing on the Fusion event as we go through the event. And definitely make sure you hit that sub button so you can see when that stuff goes live. We are also pushing for 5,000 subscribers. So please, if you haven't done so already, hit that sub button. Tell your brothers, tell your sisters, tell everyone. As Fastidious says, tell your mother. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.